Hi, my name is Brandon Enright, and in my ongoing series to try to dye Shapeways White Strong and Flexible Nylon, today I'm going to pit a pressure cooker against just a standard pot on a stove for dyeing the White Strong Flexible as black as it can possibly get. Now, this is actually a test for how well the dye takes to polished parts. So this is a Shapeways polished White Strong and Flexible part. So they call it White Strong, Flexible, and Polished. And Shapeways does not offer this part, or this material, in black. And the reason they don't offer it in black is because Shapeways has had trouble getting the dye to take on polished parts that they've polished, just because the dye doesn't penetrate the surface very well. And this is a White Strong and Flexible part that I have polished myself using my own process. It's not the Shapeways process. And I too have had trouble getting the dye to take on the white portions. So I did not dye this part. This part started black. And then the material that I use, the grit that I use for polishing this part, imparts a black color to the pieces. It's actually more like a charcoal gray color. And after the spheres, the porcelain spheres stage of the polishing, a lot of the features of the part turn white, and it's those white parts that are very smooth, non-rough, nice plastic, that have trouble taking the dye. They often, instead of dyeing black, they dye like a sort of a dark blue, and it can, it doesn't look that great. So what I'm doing here is I have half of a print that Shapeways polished and a complete print that I polished, and I'm going to put it in with a weight here. Spilling water all over my kitchen floor here. Oh, there we go. I got it locked. Okay, I got it locked, and I have already pre-filled these containers with water. So there is water covering the part there, and there is water in this container too. And then for this one, I have the other half of the puzzle that Shapeways polished, and I have the other print of the puzzle that I polished. And all those parts are just going to sit there and floating on the top, so I'm going to add a tiny bit of soap. Probably help a little bit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add two containers of RIT dye to each one. Now, I should mention that there's slightly more water in my pressure cooker than in the pot. At first I wanted to do it head to head, exact same amount of water in both, but unfortunately, because of the size of my pressure cooker, the diameter of the pot is such that in order to cover the mesh container in there, it was just a little bit too much water for this pot. And I figure if I'm going to do a fair test, instead of doing the exact same amount of water in each, I should just use the appropriate amount of water for each. And if it turns out that the dye concentration difference makes a difference and this does a better job, then that'll tell you that the pressure cooker, at least this size pressure cooker, is probably not the best option. So if the if this pot ends up doing a better job, we won't know exactly why, but we'll know at least that it's possible to do much better than a pressure cooker. Now, let me stir this. My plan is to cook each one of these things for exactly 1 hour. So I'm going to get them started at the exact same time. And they're going to heat up at different rates because they have different amounts of water and they have different thicknesses of pots. And they're going to get to different temperatures because one's a pressure cooker and the other one's not. So it's not going to be, you know, this is not perfect science here. There's a lot of variables. But it's a realistic test. It's a realistic test. This is a silicone oil, and I need to lubricate the lip here because it's a metal seal. Alright, I'm going to put the 15 psi pressure regulator weight, the 15, on the regulation valve. And I am going to put both burners at high. Alright, it is 136. I don't know if you can see the clock on my stove here, but it's 136. Here it is on my watch. 137 now, and I'm going to let those go for an hour. I'm going to have to adjust the temperature down on this once it gets up to pressure, but I'm going to let them go for an hour on the stove. I'm going to stir this one regularly, and then I will show the results when I'm done here. Well, the pressure cooker just now got up to temperature, and it's 220 or 219, so there's only about 15 minutes left. The pot has been at full temperature for about, I don't know, 15 minutes already. So it's at a full rolling boil, and I keep on venting pressure each time this pot starts to bubble over. So I'm going to let it go like this for about another 15 minutes, and then I will stop them. Last time I checked on these parts, they were nowhere near dark enough. They were still sort of a blue-purple. So I'm hoping that after another 15 minutes of going like this, that they will take a good dark temperature. So this is what it looks like when the pressure cooker's up to temperature. I'm actually going to turn the temperature down, or up to pressure. I'm going to turn the temperature down a little bit so that it doesn't vent steam so fast. But other than that, I'm going to let it go like this, and then we'll see which one did better. Alrighty, it is 2:35. It's been about an hour. I am going to turn off the temperature on these. Unfortunately, it takes a very long time for the pressure cooker to cool, so I'm going to have to wait for it to cool very slowly. This is still boiling, but it'll drop temperature quickly. So I'll let it sit for maybe 10 minutes or so to get down relatively low in temperature. And then I'll clean off the parts and I'll rinse them and we'll see how dark these ones got, and we'll find out how dark these ones got a little bit later. Alright, so I got the pieces out, dried them, all that good stuff. So here is a piece dyed in the regular oven, not the pressure cooker. This is one that I've tumbled. And you can see that it's pretty black. It does have an ever so slight blue hint to the edge. Here's a part that Shapeways tumbled. And I don't know if you can tell on the camera. The part is not black, it's sort of a dark charcoal blue. Let me show you two compared to each other. The tips have a hint of blue to them, and these pieces have a hint of blue over the entire piece. Alrighty, and these are the parts that I did in the pressure cooker. Keep them separate. I don't want to mix them just yet. Alrighty. This part is one that I've tumbled, and I don't see any hints of blue on the tip. I don't know how well you can tell in person, but this one does have hints of blue to me, and this one does not. I'm probably going to boost the saturation on this video significantly to try to make that come out better. Okay. Here is a part that I tumbled with the pressure and dyed with the pressure cooker, and here is a part that I tumbled This one is definitely blacker. I can see it in person. I'm not sure if the camera is really picking that up. Here is a corner that I tumbled, and to me the tips all look black. And so once again on the left here, this is stovetop, this is pressure cooker. I can see a difference in person, but I can't see a difference on my little camera viewfinder. There is a teeny tiny hint of blue on the tip. Actually, you know what? Let me go find a flashlight. And maybe a flashlight will be able to bring it out. Now, this is a UV flashlight. And I really doubt that UV is going to help here, but it's what I had easy access to. No, I don't think UV is going to help at all there. Okay, let me find another light source, and I will be back. Alright, got a light source. Battery-powered desk lamp here. think you should be able to see that there's a hint of blue along this edge. And I don't see any blue on the right hand piece, the one I did in the pressure cooker. Okay. The parts that Shapeways tumbled. Here's a part Shapeways tumbled. There's definitely a blue tint to it in person, even in the from the pressure cooker. And it's pretty clear to me in person that the pressure cooker made it darker. Here's a small piece versus a small piece. This small piece clearly, in person, has lots of blue on the tip. So I should mention that I didn't put any salt or any vinegar in the RIT dye when I did these. I suspect salt and vinegar will help. I haven't tested it yet. I think it does. And I would have kept them in the pressure cooker for longer, but I felt like an hour was a good test here. I didn't want to make them so black that I couldn't tell the difference between the two. But I'm pretty sure that the pressure cooker can get these pieces blacker than just stovetop. I think you should be able to see there's a pretty striking difference in person. The tips here, they're blue, and the tips on this one are black. This one's much more uniform color. This one's not. Don't know why I can't find. There's a possibility that I didn't get any of these pieces over here when I split it in half. Well, I can't compare this piece to over here because when I split the pieces in half, there's only 6 of these, and somehow all 6 of them ended up in that batch. Let's just compare these two instead. Oh, there's one. Alright. Both are somewhat blue. I don't think you can see it on camera, but this one looks ever so slightly grayer, and this one looks ever so slightly more blue. but I don't think one is darker than the other. They look about the same to me. So it's pretty clear that the Shapeways polishing process is harder to dye than my polishing process, probably because my polishing process leaves the pieces pretty gray in the first place. Just except for the tips. Well, so I'd say that's that. The pressure cooker definitely does better for the same amount of time. So I think I'm going to continue to use the pressure cooker. What I'll try to do is a test of vinegar and salt to see how well vinegar and salt help, but I'm not sure how to do that in a controlled test yet. Alright, well, thanks for watching.